me to the Shadow Man.
Yes! Cheers! That will be the start of
Perfect. Cheers. That's a glass. Careful.
Why didn't you? Oh.
Let's kick off. Episode 41, The Shadow Man. As you can tell, we're still missing 2 members of the party, but all will be well. To do one announcement real quick, it is going to be, if you're a dungeon master out there, and you are looking for NPCs to add to your campaign, head to kingleodnd.com, where there is on the top right corner character catalogs, and semi-monthly, once, twice a month, I'll be adding new character concepts there that you can pull into your own campaigns. So go there. It's a really cool resource for you to develop the story that you were going with and to benefit from the work of others, something that makes that job so much easier. Nice. Next to that, only announcement we had was that, and check out our merch store as always, also on Patreon, there was going to be polls for ways that we can influence and adjust the story that's happening here right now before you in whatever way our patrons want that to go. And so that in the past has influenced what types of items that the party gets, as well as the actual story around some of the villains and important NPCs that are coming to play. So we get a really cool space there where I get to ask some questions and see what would make this more enjoyable for you. So if you want to participate in that, go ahead over to our Patreon. You can participate at some of that at any level that you participate in for patronizing. Please patronize me. Patronage me, and us. The last thing to add is the recap from episode 41, which is really crazy.
No, from 40.
This is 41? You're right.
This is 41.
Yes.
Yeah.
Episode recap for episode 40. It's just crazy that we've done that many episodes.
I know.
That just feels weird.
At some point we have to stop saying the numbers, probably, right?
Maybe?
Why?
Mm-hmm. People don't like numbers.
Oh.
Word on the street.
Episode Delta Zeta was... so
Roman numerals!
we started with XLI.
Nice.
This is XLI. So episode XL was a 30-minute technical difficulty that may or may not have gotten repaired, and I don't know that right now. But what happened in the first 30 minutes was a little bit of kumbaya after the meeting with Treya Lalarian, the owner of the Lalarian Estates and Winery outside of the town of Populous, as well as a high government official for the city of Populous. She has patronized the party to become a sort of group of bodyguards for her on the 2-day travel to Duskforge to the southeast, which isn't happening for another like two-ish weeks. However, she also bought out the contract for the rebuilding of the property on the Isaro property outside of Populous, which will soon be, for the next episode, completely fleshed out and developed. What we're going to do in this episode is kind of see what happens in the 2 weeks' time before then. However, beyond that, Misery met up with Four Fingers and did a great street performance to collect some change, and spent a comfortable night with him, probably in an inn somewhere because they could afford it. And Pilgrim met with Farragrand and debated the best use of the Huskstone in the ideations and creativity that Farragrand had to offer. And Gwendolyn met with Felon at the tree and then gave him the letter, and also
You piece apart your 3 personalities.
Yes, that was rough. Gwendolyn paid Felon a future hug for Lorelith, which was delivered to Strogoth. Then hopefully
I don't know that that's what that hug was. I think he just really loved Wolfie.
that's kind of what happened. Yes. But the letter was then delivered to Lorelith, and Lorelith read that in the camp and then started to gather her things.
What was that?
The cats are fine.
It sounds like they're not.
They're probably just chasing each other on a road. So the last we left off in the last episode was Laura was packing up her things in the morning after the meeting with Treya, and the morning after Gretchen had left to then try to regroup with the party, which leaves us with a very open 2 weeks between y'all. So this is just going to be a very broad stroke, like what is your person doing? What all are they trying to accomplish? What does life look like with a very open window for your particular character? We can zoom in on things like Lorelith reconnecting with somebody from the party, but if that's Cassandra or Rachel's doing, maybe we hold that off for another episode, but we'll do something. Whatever else your character will be doing for their own development, we can handle. We can do your regrouping with Peregrine as well after a couple of days, and we'll work with him. Completely open table. What happens over the next 2 weeks?
Open table.
Thank you.
Sponsor us.
This episode is not sponsored by Open Table.
Oh, that's an actual thing?
Yeah,
that's
it's
actual
where
place.
you-
You make reservations.
Yeah.
Oh.
Pin table. Yeah.
Pente.
Well,
What are you doing?
didgeridoo.
Didgeridoo.
Would you like us to tell you what we're doing?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Where you been?
What are you
For
doing?
2 weeks. I mean, so I hung out with Four Fingers. I, in general, am getting pretty introspective about the last week. Obviously practicing music, but trying to write a song. I already have the song written, but we won't hear it tonight. Sorry. But
Dang it.
I'll be working on a song about a special someone because it's been a while since I thought about a special someone. So yeah, in general, just practicing the music, trying to write this song, trying to make it really good.
Where are you practicing?
That's the thing.
Streets.
Do you spend like 2 weeks on the streets with Four Fingers?
I think I might.
Yeah.
Between that and like hanging out with probably like Cooley and such.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not going home at all. I feel very independent now,
Yeah.
or at least like, you know, away from my family and with these people. But yeah, that's kind of the main gist of it.
Okay. What would be your room description that you would want for the
For the house,
for the keep?
the castle, whatever it is. Wow, I don't know. I've had a pretty nice room growing up. So.
You did. Do you want to keep it at that level?
I don't think. There's some things I'm used to, but some things I probably don't want anymore. Definitely want a bed.
Yeah.
The
The canopy bed?
I always picture a canopy bed when it like he's waking up. So yes.
Okay.
And the walls are bare
Okay.
as far as like the building it goes. But I'll put up stuff. Yeah, I'll put up stuff. I'll put up, you know, my posters that I have. But basically it's a bed and then it's a whole, if there's room, a whole section of like a practice space. Slash desk for writing space. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Cool. Some like stands for instruments. And
Yeah.
At some point, as you are like kind of drawing up these ideas and getting some like instrumentation and stuff like that too, whether this wouldn't be directly to Treya, but there's like a representative at some point that you were like delivering this letter to and kind of talking through ideas with. And when you bring up instruments, they directly ask you, would you like a harp, like a full sized harp in the room as well?
Oh my gosh, a full harp. I don't want a harp.
Okay.
I don't know how to play the harp, and I'm not ready to learn a new instrument.
Okay.
Unless someone else wants the harp.
Are you waiting till marriage?
We're not gonna harp on that. Let's go ahead.
Yes, good. Good.
Steven had a plucky comment to make.
Oh my god.
Shut up.
We're not gonna string it along.
No!
I'm mad.
Steven should shut up.
That's what I call harp humor.
Right. So it's weirdly, as I'm imagining the space, the bed kind of feels out of place. You get this like really fancy, really comfortable bed, but the rest of the room feels kind of grungy and underdeveloped. So you get the comforts of sleep, but then also anything outside of that feels
I
more.
love my sleep.
Yeah. Great. Who wants to go next with
Sleep
like
for the next 2 weeks?
Who wants to go next with like some of the broader stuff, and we can still go back and zoom into some of the others.
I can go.
Yeah.
Since I've been gone for so long. I make my way back to Populous. And
Is there a first person that you would seek out to talk to?
I think I would probably try to find Gwen,
Okay. We can pause that until next week, but
wherever she might be. And then I think that I would mostly go to Grungeon's house. Well, okay, now. Back up. Before I do anything, before I see anyone, I go into Populous and I go to the garden of the purple trees.
Yeah.
And I sit there for a minute.
the Western Violets.
Western violets?
Violets.
Violets.
Violas. Nope. C.
Violins.
Close?
Violets.
Violent, but without the E. So with an A instead of the first E, and without the N.
It's like gargantuan with a lot of different letters.
It's like I hate you, stupid, but
I would go there and spend some time in it, just kind of reflecting on Grungeon's letter and how I'm feeling, and I walk away with a different disposition. I'm not like overjoyed. No. Finish!
that's the only disposition I've ever heard.
I am not overjoyed. I'm not excited, but I have like, I'm still not crazy about this garden. I'm not a huge fan of it, but
You are crazy.
do you have something you'd like to share with the class?
I love my wife.
My wife.
And I walk away with kind of like a sense of peace about a lot of things, and don't have the same like anger that I did when I first kind of stormed out of Grungeon's house. And then I find Gwen and I talk to her. And then I go to Grungeon's house, and I think I spend most of my time there. Like, it's a piece of property.
Yeah.
It's not just a house. There's like a backyard and stuff.
He did maintain, and this has never really been seen or we talked about,
Father's probably buried.
but he did have like a little bit of a garden there, and even though farming was like his work and his trade, that kind of just never left him. And so in the back of that place was lately, in the last maybe couple of years, it's been really unkept. So I think it would be really fair to say that this time you would revive it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That most of my time is spent at the house, kind of making it, making more so the outside and the like landscaping and the gardening and stuff of it a home, rather than the inside. I think the inside is still kind of like barren and very much the way that he left it.
Yeah.
But a lot of my time is spent kind of trying to revive the garden, and like even if that includes going to the marketplace and using coin in exchange for seeds and other plants. I think before I do that, I would definitely go into the woods and see if I could like harvest any seeds from anything to plant back there. But very much trying to make it like a flourishing home to me like area.
For sure. Yeah, easy. You get seeds for whatever, like vegetables and herbs and like very productive fruits and stuff that you would want to put in it, as well as whatever, if you want, like decorative and stuff like that too. It's very easy for you to kind of bring together and kind of bring some new life to over the next couple of weeks. A conversation with Glenn that happens, I'm sure. We can zoom back at that later. And yeah, that all sounds good. Trying to think. I think at some point while you're out back and working through some things, Munkin comes to visit and just stops by the house, and you can hear him knocking at the front door and calling out. Just some aimless, hello, anyone here?
I'm in the back working, but I think before I'm able to get to the front door, Wolfie has heard it and made his way to the front. He now knows the home well, and he kind of uses his nose to like.
He's wearing human clothes now.
Puts down his newspaper.
Honey, someone at the door.
And he like uses his snout to like nuzzle the door open, and then like maybe a second or two later, I'm like walking up.
Yeah, you walk up to Munkin, very much enjoying the welcome from Wolfie, and he's down on his knees at the front door, just kind of deep into the fur of Wolfie, and even kind of like little subtle, like not so much barks, but little like guttural growls and stuff from Munkin and Wolfie in this level of like, he's trying his best to kind of speak the language of the animal that he's kind of wrestling with, and you can see that there's somewhat of a deeper connection there, that where you do that almost mentally and facially with no words, that Munkin kind of results to trying to speak the actual language of the animal he's with.
Do I think he looks silly? Like, do I think what he's doing is ridiculous, or do I recognize it for what it is?
Can you laugh?
It's you where it would feel like this is effortless to you, and you see somebody where it actually takes like a lot of work to do something that you find innate to who you are.
But I take seriously what he's doing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. He's trying really hard, and it's not like making fun of it in any way. It's just a different process.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of walk up, and I'm like, "Oh, hello, Munkin. I see you were greeted by Wolfie once again. Strokoth. Sorry, I should stop calling him Wolfie to the outside world.
Beef Strokoff.
Yeah. Yes. I missed that.
I said Beef Strokoff, which is now the name of this episode.
It's unfortunately really good.
I can't do anything.
I love my wife today.
I would be lying if I said that I wasn't seeking out this exact moment. And Munkin is still just petting and enjoying time with Wolfie.
Beefy?
Hey, if y'all can ruin NPC names, I will get my jabs when I can. Big Rick.
Big Rick.
So,
Rest in power. We haven't seen him in a minute. Sorry.
I just in my work and throughout my day, I'll just be very honest and straightforward. I miss Savarin and wanted to just see how you were doing.
I'm okay. So you found me. Here I am at Gringen's house. As you might know, he moved away. At what point in the 2 weeks are we right now?
Wherever you want it to be. I imagine this is like maybe a weekend, like after we just were.
Yeah.
So you're in the middle of all your projects. You're feeling kind of more at peace and just kind of enjoying the downtime where you're like, all right, this has been a good amount of quiet and the excitement and motivation for the next thing. Like people have kind of updated you that Dustforge and Treya are in your future.
Okay.
But yeah.
So Gringen moved away about a week ago, and he left this house to me, and so I've kind of just been. He also left me a really beautiful note, and yeah, I'm just taking this time to kind of make this space feel a little bit more like home. But Savarin is definitely a missing piece of that.
Yeah. You haven't heard from her at all or seen her?
I have not, unfortunately.
Yeah, me neither. I think every day I wake up and think this might be the day that she's just at the Onyx Pillar, working away just like it's always been. And it's not.
Have you gone back over to her side of town to check on her house or ask around for her?
I'm a little embarrassed to admit it, but every morning and every night I stop by, and it's always the same, and the door's left unlocked from, well, when we damaged it a bit. And it's still easy to get in there, but no, yeah, she's not been back. Any ideas of where she might have gone? I've been trying to think of it myself.
I mean, the only thing I can think of, because it still is sticking with me, how she seemed to be gone and disappear at the same time that the Aboleth was killed, and that was connected to her being in the lake in the first place and the voices she was hearing, and so the only place I could think of is the cave where the Aboleth was.
Yeah.
That maybe she went there for some reason.
Maybe. You know, I just keep replaying the conversation that we had the last time I saw her, and I've seen her be flustered and confused almost on a daily basis, but not like that. I hope she's out there just looking for answers to whatever questions that she has about herself. It was very much, very rarely she would bring up that she didn't know who her parents were or where she came from or what that meant for her life. And there was always, honestly, like once a year, maybe we would have the conversation where she would just be mourning, not knowing exactly who she was. And I wonder if she just hit that breaking point where she needs to find that answer, and I hope she's out there looking for it, and that's why she's gone and that nothing has happened,
Yeah. I just hope she's safe wherever she is, if that's what she's doing, is looking for that answer. I can't help but think, I know I briefly mentioned this when we talked before, and I got a little flustered, and I apologize for that. I don't know how much, well, I do know. I know how much you know about my background because I haven't told you much. So that's it. I come from much, much further south of Populous. And I, about 400 years ago, was sort of the end of some of the wars that was going on in our world. And my entire village got caught in the crossfires of the gods and the giants and the goblins and all of these fights going on. And everyone died, except for me. And I have held on to that, and I've spent a lot of time searching for similar things to Savarin, and maybe that's why we had that connection. But one of the things that stuck with me the entire time is that after those things happened, and after different things happened following those wars ending, there was a lot of really intense change in weather. And I haven't been around people in a very long time, so this is just a theory that I have. But I have this theory that there are people who are growing in their zealousness for certain gods that were very dangerous during those wars, and that is potentially what is leading to the weather. The weather changes. I came here because it was too cold for me to continue to live where I was from. And I also kind of came here to try to see if I could figure out some answers to that. I say all of this to say what happened with Savarin feels weirdly spiritual to me. And I'm curious if some of the answers she went to go find are related to the gods. And if there's some sort of zealous religious group that she stumbled upon that could be really dangerous. And that's my origin story.
I say this, and I know that our last conversation is antagonistic to the next statement I'm going to make, but you sound the most like Savarin I've ever heard you sound in the way that you were describing this. And that leads me to believe that you're on to something. That you are thinking like she is and seeking the things that she also was seeking. It seems like a good thread and overlap to me. Also, and again, with the most respect that I could, I do not envy the elves. It's a lot of weight and life to have on your shoulders in one lifetime. I'm just sorry. I'm sorry that that is what led you here and all that you've been seeking.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
I, too, am a loner away from a clan of people here. I don't know how much you know about the Furbolg, but they are quite similar to elves in just about everything except we live a lot shorter. Our people are ones of the woods and of nature. We typically stay to ourselves outside of big cities like this and simply live off of the land, and well, that's enough. I found my way here by wanting to learn more than I could in such a small community of people, and this city offered me the means of which I could be supported in my study to learn more about animals and people and their relationship with each other and what we have to learn from the animals and how we can preserve and protect them as well. And I ended up becoming a voice here, weirdly, to help, in the way that I see it, negotiate the truce between nature and the city. The only Furbolg that, well, one of the only Furbolg in the city, but the only from my clan at least. And it's hard to become a person that identifies more with the city that you belong in rather than the people that you came from.
Well, the work that you do is certainly very important, and it doesn't go unnoticed.
Oh. Yeah.
All of that being said, do you have any further thoughts on, I know that there are obviously the archives where we could look up information about these religious groups and get any sort of information on where we could find Savarin. But other than that, do you know of any folks in town that would maybe have any information
On the gods, or are you looking more at this from a more angsty perspective?
I don't know what that word means.
There are the formal relationships and beliefs and institutions of those that would believe in the major gods, though there are always those that would cling to the aspiring deities and lesser gods, and in that whatever interest and underbelly there is for that, I'm simply asking, are you looking for more of the more obvious and pietous, aspiring, original, formative gods, and you're wanting more information on them, or are you looking to find some group of people who might know things about the less appealing or less socially acceptable gods?
I think the latter. My gut feeling is that being the age that I am, I can't help but assume that some of these more zealous groups that are influencing however the weather may be related to it, I don't entirely know, or know that it's related at all, but that it is groups of younger people because they simply don't know of the history related to those lesser gods. So I have an inkling of maybe where we could start, and maybe I'm just assuming the worst of him, but who's to say?
Whoa.
I think we could, if you have no other leads, I think we could ask Misery if he knows anyone.
Oh, okay. I was trying to figure out what you were talking about. Fascinating. No, with that proposition, Monkin just looks back and thinks for a minute. I don't have any particular ties to anyone of knowledge in that category, but I will do some work, and I will see what there is to learn. I have my connections, and the next time I am around the archive and other major government figures of the city, I will discuss with them where would be a good place to learn more in this area. And if I hear of anything, I'll let you know.
Great. Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you for your help. Thank you for the things you've shared with me today. And thanks. Thank you for being a friend.
Friends.
Thank you for not smoking.
I'm running
As he's
back again.
petting Strogoth and getting to process the last of that conversation too. Before leaving, he just says, "It is oddly comforting to know that another person is going through a lot of what I'm feeling and worried about right now too."
Mm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And then his larger than average furbolg frame with his long black braided hair down his back, you see pass away off into the streets to head back. He does not die. Heads back towards the other side of town.
This was a great conversation. I am at peace.
What would also your room look like as you would make any types of requests to
Oh, in the house?
in that actual house?
Like Lizzie McGuire poster, like hot pink accent wall. Sorry.
No, that's totally. Stellan kind of described his last episode, which
Yeah.
was like
I want to copy.
one of the walls wasn't complete, so it was like an open balcony. In a
Well,
way.
I was gonna say I feel like
it.
no, but I feel like Loreleth would almost have like a greenhouse. Like
Yeah.
I don't want my room to be attached to the house.
Sure.
I would be unattached.
Either you can work on a separate building like that, or you can have the rooftop, which could be glassed over.
I did a living wall in mine too. That's just a wall of plants.
That's cool.
My interior designer.
Yeah.
I just played one on Thursday night.
I think the rooftop because it would remind her a lot of the tree houses that she lived in.
Yeah.
So it would be on the roof.
Rough
It would be glass topped,
cat.
but certainly, but it would almost be like, am I allowed to say whatever I want?
You want glow in the dark
Also,
stars on it.
The representative that you're also talking with for Atreya,
I plant money trees and they grow money all the time in my room.
as you're talking about this, he just mentions that we could transplant a tree to be on the roof to make a tree house on the top of the
Yeah,
building.
that would be great. Let's do that.
Wait,
And-
what? I want to. Wait.
My room's a rocket ship.
So it's glass topped,
Yeah.
but it's almost like a what are they called?
My room's a moon.
So there's-
Pergola.
Yes, kind of, but it's like so like the glass top is disconnected, is like held up by pillars, but so there's like no walls. Like it's open air, but
Yeah.
there's a glass top for like to
Yeah.
keep the rain and stuff out.
School with no walls.
But it's kind of like the porch of it, I guess, is extended out a little bit, so it's kind of like a balcony, so I can be completely outside if I want, but also inside under the rain. I like the real tree. I think it's pretty much like a terrarium. I live in a terrarium
Yeah.
that is
It's moist
open.
all the time.
No, it's like open.
That's
I
true.
just mean that like everything is plants.
Yeah. Great.
Everything is
Oh,
planned.
I thought you were gonna do like a movie. Everything is planned.
Oh, you can do everything.
No.
Everything is green when you're lower left.
Joey was doing Rent.
Everything is planned.
You were
Everything
doing
is planned.
the Lego movie.
Everything
I've
is
never seen
planned.
Rent. Sorry, everyone.
You should rent it at Blockbuster.
Nice. Harp joke.
Steven.
Good. I
Do you like
played
birds?
Don't do it again.
Hey Joey, do you like birds?
I actually don't, but Drew does.
Dan, do you like
I ruined
birds?
it.
Yes. Say yes or she can flick you off.
Don't ruin it! Dan, do you like birds?
Yeah, birds are cool.
Nice.
Wow, good joke, Sally.
Thanks.
Cool. Okay. Let's then
Is it a terror?
hop to Felon.
Whoa.
Same thing. Open time interactions that you would have, knowing that Julie and Gwendolyn will be done later, but you can still say now if you would do anything like that.
I have 2 weeks.
2 weeks, just very open time for.
Open up.
Felon wants to travel south
Okay.
to the mountains.
Yeah.
Do I have time?
Oh my gosh.
Plenty. You're good.
Travel south to the mountains
Yeah.
to look for a crag cat.
Yes.
What's that?
A mythical snow cat.
Whoa!
Fascinating.
So I have my wild shape ability that allows me to.
I found it.
Medium
Is
or
it there?
lower? Or does it matter?
There is a certain challenge rating or lower.
So either way, I am always on the hunt to connect with nature in the sense of finding new animals that I've never seen so that I can shape into them, but also my fascination with the complexity of nature leads me to always want to find new life and watch it go throughout its day and all that kind of stuff. So my desire is to travel south past Duskforge, knowing that that's where we're going to be going anyways, which was what you said, a 2-day journey.
Mm-hmm.
So travel past that. I don't know if there are any desires to interact with the town necessarily or vampires. But the mission is to travel to the mountains to explore and find things.
Great. Make a survival check with advantage for me.
Falls off the mountain. Nice.
Oh no.
The town, the half dozen when they travel.
Survival's, and this is a D20 as well.
Yeah.
Survival's plus
When they
7.
travel out east, they see a sign. Here lies Stefan.
He doesn't find the crag cat, but the crag cat does find him.
I'm gonna get rid of these dice.
You roll it twice.
Oh no.
Oh, well that was a nat 1.
You have advantage.
You do have advantage.
Okay, good.
So I'm at 8 so far.
But just roll one more time.
Oh,
And
You take the higher
the
instead.
higher one.
20. That was a 13 plus 7.
Great.
I was crazy.
In the
Nat 1 and Nat 20.
overall, in the journey southeast and heading towards the mountains, you have several interactions with dodging things like immediately larger bears, wolf packs, goblins, things like that, where you're very comfortable with hearing them, hiding, waiting for them to leave, or scaring them away and then moving on. And so you continue that pattern, and as you then get into some snowier terrain, you get to the treehouse village that you had moved through before.
It's great.
That's your home. That's your home.
further.
That's straight south. You're actually heading eastwards towards the mountains.
Yes.
And near Dustforge, and on your way through there, you go past the place you picked up the diary.
Oh,
the place
yeah.
outside the Loreless Path. You get there, and at one point too, you can see that there are some people, maybe like 6 or 7 or more, that are inhabiting the treetops right now. The tree
The
houses.
ones in the blue cloaks?
Yes, and so you see that, kind of knowing you're off on your own, kind of keep your distance, stealthily move through. You are now fully into kind of the heavier winter of the area, more towards where the mountains start. And you're able to find tracks of a larger cat, a creature like that. So go ahead and make another survival check.
Oh, gosh. Good. What's that?
Your kitty kitty.
Does it make it?
It's a 5. What does that add up to? 13.
Okay, great. And then I will. Cool. This is your second day of journey out, and you spent a lot of time tracking this one, and then eventually you get to a point where actually the tracks that you've seen have split off, and this is later into the evening, and you're worried about figuring out which one is which and how to track it, and you end up kind of making camp for a night and putting it off towards the morning, not finding it that day. And also just trying to be really safe and protective of yourself, knowing that it's just you by yourself looking for this creature that in itself has been pretty, you know that they're pretty formidable and dangerous. Go ahead for the next day and make another survival check with advantage as you're following up on these tracks later.
$14.
Okay. You spend the next full morning into the afternoon, which now is really hard to tell because you're in like such a harsh shift from the springtime of populace, and now it feels like the dead of winter, that you're near the mountains and there's a thick snow constantly, and even overnight in the camp that you had made, snow has put out your fire and you woke up feeling pretty chilled. But Oba and the bedroll and the extra clothing and things that you have for winter travel to prepare yourself, furs and things like that, has kept you warm. All of that to now trudge through the snow. Dredge? Is he like digging?
Trudge is a thing.
Trudging through the snow with a one-horse open sleigh. And so you're working your way through. It's a harsh night, and the snow continues to prevail in a way that reminds you of why you even kind of got pushed out of this region, and your awareness that this is such bizarre weather to be feeling. And then mid-afternoon, you hear the loud, almost human screaming of the screech of a cry cat. You can hear it off in the distance, and you know that this is their kind of intimidating and also communication form in general to get the other crag cats that are part of their pack to hunt down something that they're hunting. You were on the right trail. What do you do?
I know, are they hunting me? Oh gosh. I, Thelen,
Do hereby declare.
no. So, what Thelen does here is I will use my wild shape and turn into. Can I turn into the cool, colorful bird that flew into my chest? That wasn't real.
I don't think you get flying creatures yet. So with your
Oh,
wild
no
shape-
flying.
Yeah,
No
so-
flying speed. Shoot. I'll turn into. Have I ever seen like a snow mouse?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Okay, so a small creature
Mm-hmm.
that I don't think they would hunt because it's not worth their time.
Yeah. Great.
So turn into a little small creature that
Yeah.
can deal with cold, but also not be something that a large animal would
Yeah.
really try and bother.
Yeah. So you and Oba both just kind of running through the snow and keeping to some stealth, but moving forward. And Oba, weirdly familiar with you changing forms and being other creatures and all of that, still knows to kind of submit and follow and listen to anything that you have to say or express. And as you move over a couple of hills and get to this stony outcrop that then is a cliff over a field underneath, what you see is 5 crag cats. All surrounding and fighting with this very large, white-furred, massive Yeti creature. And so what you were witnessing from this perch is this big, long, white fur kind of matted off to the sides, this bluish brown kind of facial skin, and the hands and feet that do kind of stick out amongst all of this white of the snow and the fur that they have. One large creature, 9 to 11 feet tall, from this distance that you're seeing it. What?
You said that. 9 to 11. 9 to 12 feet tall.
9 to 12 feet tall. Never forget.
September 11th feet tall.
And then these 5 creatures that you haven't seen before, right? This is the first time that you've seen them.
I've only heard of them.
Right. And so I'll show you just kind of the image of what you're looking
I mean,
at.
it sounds like my ex-wife.
And so this is what the creatures look like.
Ooh.
Very long furred.
I don't like it.
They almost look like they have a bit of a human face. They have
Yeah.
more
like those monkeys have a
personified
face.
expression than any other feline that you've seen. And so from this is extremely long white fur for them. And their voice, their screaming, their growling sounds human even.
Perfect. Hey! Hey!
Hello?
These beautiful, majestic creatures in this wonderful moment that you have sought out for so long.
So long.
What were we talking about?
Hello?
Did they laugh too?
I guess. Nimbus is leaving the room. He's like, I'm done. So, in the thralls of battle, these crag cats are screeching out commands to each other and surrounding this Yeti. Then you were witnessing a fight between an extremely large, formidable Yeti creature and 5 of these cats. And eventually, as you were just watching this happen, the cats take down this huge creature, just bite after bite, whittling it down, and getting to a point where every time the Yeti tries to slash out and attack, the one that's going to attack bounces back and it's moving in on it, and then the other 4 just swoop in, get in a couple of bites and scratches, and then get out of the way before the Yeti's even turning to look at them. And the intelligence that these creatures are showing, as well as just the raw power to be able to take down a creature of this size. They take it down to the ground, and then almost as soon as it hits the ground, it's gone from your sight, from the distance that you're at, and it goes fully white, until eventually you can see the pool of red blood forming around it, and each of these cats just continue to eat and then pull off and take off their own pieces of this creature they've hunted down. And you just watch this from a vantage point and have been able to witness them from this peaceful and distant position.
Thelen and Oba feel secure in their camouflage, knowing that I have. How long did it take me to get to them from after hearing them?
Maybe about 3 hours of searching.
Okay, so I'm coming up on my time then of my wild form. So, because I can only be a mouse or whatever for
like an hour. Yeah.
No, it's so I can.
Oh, you can maintain it for a while.
I can maintain it for 3 hours. So I'm coming up on my time.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm coming up on my time of being hidden, and I don't want to. Yes. Okay. Edit.
Please, if we're ever going to do it, it has to be now. 51 minutes exactly into this recording.
Joey.
Hey, it happens, you know. Thelen is amazed and almost taking mental notes at how the Crag Cats communicated and worked together as a team to accomplish something.
Yeah.
And it reminds him of the Half Dozen and how they in the past have worked together against what seemed to be formidable foes, but came out on top.
Yeah.
And so lots of just amazement at the nature and the way that they hunted, but also, I don't know, a feeling of confidence in relating it back to the way that he and his newfound friends have conquered things in their lives.
Yeah.
So after watching for a little while and finally seeing it, he can kind of feel that his time is running out on his shifting and knows that they will be feasting for a while on such a large thing. So with his mission accomplished, I would say he turns around and begins to head back to Populous.
Great. Yeah. The journey back is still a couple of days, and so you have to stop and make camp. You pass by the tree houses again, and just on your way back through. And this time you don't really see anyone in activity. It just was happenstance the one time that you did. And so once you get past the tree houses and you move through for another half a day's journey or so, it starts to warm up again, and you shift from kind of winter heavy furs and get back to more travel ready clothes. And get back to Populous.
How long was I gone on my trips? Was that take 2 weeks?
So, like this in itself
Week and a half?
would have been about a week.
Okay.
And so whether you time that first week, last week, kind of in the middle zone of all that is up to you. But for about a week's time, like the rest of the party doesn't see Thelen, doesn't interact with Thelen. If you would have told him you were leaving, that's up to you. Yeah.
I probably would have just left, knowing that in 2 weeks' time we had something that we were going to be doing together.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I made my way back, and I'd say I just headed to town and kind of go to the popular places and slowly work my way around to see if I find anybody.
Great. And we've got your room description. We can do your stuff with Fairbrand to kind of finalize the stuff with him, and then I've got something to end this session on. So, couple days pass. You're helping out.
I'm good. I'm back.
I can see in your eyes that you're not.
So I have been taking notes, but I just re-tickled myself because I made a side note and I just said, there's a bunch of bullet points going on. At this point, Joey farts a lot.
What if they didn't hear it?
Everyone heard it! Oh! I'm here.
It was a lot. Twice.
I spent a good 5 to 10 minutes with Steven at dinner tonight before y'all came over, just talking about how serious moments in this campaign versus joking moments in this campaign just come at odds with each other.
Listen,
In tone sometimes.
Part of it is because some people don't know how to process emotions.
when the winds of toots come, you can't control that.
Can't.
Especially when you're sitting on a bench.
You can't control
Yeah,
when two characters are having a really beautiful moment sharing their backstory, and then you go, ah.
Anyways, hard cut to Pilgrim throttling Farragram.
Like, what?
Why?
No, it's okay. We're having a good time working on this thing together.
Okay.
Is Martha there?
My turn?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is Martha there?
No, hopefully not.
You haven't seen Martha at all this whole time.
Right, you haven't seen.
No!
Oh, she's old. She's probably dead.
No.
Dan!
That's
You know
your
someone who's
words,
old.
not mine.
You just said that.
No. So you work with Farragrand for a couple of days on the structure, and what you see him do is really powerful and really impressive. So he works through with a couple of different tradespeople across town, and one of them is a blacksmith, not the scalebacks, but a single person who comes to go work through this. Probably a 35-year-old human with some short black hair, introduces himself as Christoph, and just comes in with Farragrand working through the heating of the metal, and up on this balcony on the top of this tower, Christoph just works on this one fine sheet of iron to then flatten it out and spiral it to then make kind of half of a horn shape that starts out small, almost telescopic even, and then eventually scopes out to be larger on the opposite end. And then after that is complete, he also gets a carpenter to come in and work on a piece of wood that then complements the spiral of that piece of iron and then fills out the spiraled horn to then make a rather large piece. And then it's with the carpenter that he also describes, and you provide some of the pieces of the husk stone to then fit into multiple parts throughout the wooden part of this horn, little inlets where you can fit the shards to complete this whole piece. And then finally, this large structure is then rested on a tripod, and for our sake and what's easy for us to understand, looks like a telescope that you would use, like just from the shape of it and the direction and the way that it's formed. But through Farragrand's description and what he's talked with you about, that this is way more to do with the funneling and direction of thought, of voice, of sound, things like that more so than light and vision. And so you look perplexed.
Well, I was just going to insert a line of dialogue from Pilgrim looking at this thing.
This seems like a telepathic device, the scope of which has never fully been understood. Some sort of... What exactly is the telescope of this device?
I would hate to harp on it too much, but main thread. My hope for this is that it would complement the power and abilities harnessed within the stone and the magic that we're able to imbue it on, to then focus it and aim it towards a particular direction, and then also receive anything back from that direction as well. So, who knows what the actual results of this would be, but my intention of what the physical nature of this would be able to provide is some type of acute funneling, control, and direction of the abilities of which you will provide as a Kalishtar, as well as what this stone and the powers bequeathed upon it by Numero would also be able to add.
This is most intriguing. I'm curious to see how it might work when put into practice.
We are about at that time. So, after a couple of days of construction and that is complete, Urgan turns and says,
Jeez. I think his hand is caught. I'm not sure. He doesn't know what to do about that.
Oh no.
all we have now is to implement and try our best and see exactly what comes to fruition. So, this is of utmost importance at this point. Do I have your permission for us to insert the shards of the Huskstone at this time?
I slowly provide them to him.
Okay. And the both of you can fit them into the different spots that were provided.
No, I give them all to him.
Just to remind you and to guide you through what we are about to do. I am going to, with my training, ability, and experience, which I'm hoping will result in what we are intending for this to do, I'm going to put forth raw potential arcane energy as a receptacle of our intentions towards this construction. And what will complete that is your wills and desires and pure intentions with your God and this stone for you to push that forward and just focus on exactly what you intend and wish would be right and good for this item that is so sacred to you and your people. And from our combined powers and abilities to do that, well, for the first time we will see what combining two such strong drives and powers can accomplish.
I'm ready.
So am I. It's goblin time.
Ooh.
Okay, so
Hey man, you should have taken some seriously.
Hey man, it's ridiculous.
You guys should hug or something.
yeah, so Farragon.
Martha told Farragon that she wanted Farragon to hug Pilgrim before.
Yeah.
It's too bad that she fell downstairs and died.
Weirdly enough, nobody's ever seen her and Queen Elizabeth II in the same room at the same time.
Whoa.
If you could make a religion check.
Oh.
Take me to church.
Take me to church.
And if there was anything that you would add.
That one.
He's lying.
I'm literally not. Get behind me, Satan.
I literally wrote something out just in case you rolled a natural 20 on this situation.
Yeah!
You ascend into heaven.
See ya.
I only have a section where I just wrote in case of natural 20, and then I have the section of this. So.
Yeehaw.
Okay. So, this is cool. Wild. Farragon closes his eyes, and as you each hold the last shards to fit into this device, what is it that you are thinking and focusing on as your will and desire for completing this piece with Farragon?
I want. I think honestly, more so than like connecting with his people, Pilgrim wants to connect with Numero.
Mm-hmm.
I think more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's that desire for like a clear connection to Numero.
Okay. Any words or description of what that is?
I think it's like a more personalized, like a Numero, please clear my fog, please light my path, please show me where I need to go and what I need to do.
Okay. So, as you close your eyes and you're fitting in this last piece, you're focusing in on this thought, and much like just 2 nights ago when you were in the garden of the city and you were trying to connect with Numero, and it failed, and there was kind of a build of it, but then you got some visions of your past, and there just felt like there was a strong barrier between you and Numero. And instead, this time, your consciousness, the focus of your thought, the perspective and from which you take in the information that's around you, that leaves your body. And you are now following in a spiral this contraption, that your mind is going around the circles of this thing that has been created, until eventually your vision takes you through a sea of countless nebulae, as a massive form of earth and light is like flying by this perspective of the visage that you have, and you feel your body and mind and this just perspective that you have being lifted out of where you're at, and it leaves Populous and it leaves Canvas, and you're out feeling like you're moving through space, and you're seeing massive constellations and collections of stars and lights and energy just moving past you. Even though this is all around you in every direction, you then start to feel like you're moving away from it, that this existence, this space gets smaller and distant, until it eventually just becomes completely dark, that all of this light, all of this energy is now very far gone. It's black. But then you have this feeling of movement still, that you are still kind of moving away from that space, and you can feel that. And then one quick movement, a silvery white thin line just enters this visage, this point that you can see, and then another one, and then another, and they're all parallel to each other. And you can see all of these threads of lines of this white and silver equally spaced from each other, until hundreds of them are just overlapped and next to each other, crossing each other in different which ways. And then all of them, from a farther vantage point, you can see are meshed over one another in this now rippling plane of the silvery white shimmer. And now you're in the space between these threads and lines, and then up above, in this separate space, you can see geometric, angled, crystalline, kind of just weirdly shaped, translucent glass that also is prismatic and reflecting all of the colors of the rainbow in different angles and lights. And so there's this spread of a wall of prismatic light above you, and then this thin, threaded mat of the silvery white sea below you. Make a perception check for me.
Nat 20.
That'd be nice. No, it's a 13 plus
Yeah, that's
7.
pretty good.
20, so
20.
dirty 20.
That's great. Okay. And so a thought comes to your mind while seeing the threads that are woven to be this massive piece below you. And you remember Thule talking about the thread weaver and Anivia and the god that is associated with the ring that kept her from dying. And you just see all of these threads below you. And then as you're looking at that, and your then gaze is brought up towards this crystalline barrier up towards the top, behind it, you can see 13 different figures. 13 different beings moving and looking at you on their own. One of them immediately grabs your attention and is startling. It is a massive, almost crocodile-looking creature. Very intimidating, very large, but off on its own, separate. Then you can see two little, almost lizard-like, kobold-esque, if you know what you should from the caves. These small, quasi-dragon, quasi-lizard type people, two of them, identical twins, just very curiously peering up and looking at you, hands on the crystal glass that is some barrier between them and you. There's a tall, full-plated armor with a massive stone hammer off on his back, just coldly looking straight forward. You can see this almost dragon-like human-formed person with this large, billowing white robe that then goes off into blues and reds and purples and this big smile across her face is this dragon-born type creature. Not dragon, but human-like dragon person. Countless others as you just keep staring across and seeing these eyes all on you. A whole array of these figures. And then one of them, barely an outline, oddly formless and to the shape of a human being, where the line between where their body is and where the rest of space is just delineated between where there is not, and then where is this kind of cutout of space and stars and almost just like formless spatial planetary imagery within the form of what a human body shape is. And that one sort of presses through and connects with the glass, and then you can hear the voice in your head. Nemo, it has been long awaited, the moment that I could speak directly to you. And that's where we'll end this episode.
I knew it!
Hey.
Doctor Who theme song, cue. Woo!